Good morning, family. Welcome to today's Lessons for Life. Today is Saturday, February 7, 2009, and today we're reading in Numbers chapter 14. And as always, I really encourage you to read through for yourself, and emails when we put it on the blog, because I read through this chapter, and I'm not even really going to bring my Lessons for Life, particularly from the chapter, so to say, but it's just something I thought about as I was reading, and I think it's an important lesson that we should learn even today. So as I was reading it, I was thinking, because it's a very interesting chapter, I was thinking, well, what exactly do I want to bring out for Lessons for Life? And I could have spoken about what Caleb did, which was a lesson that we can follow, versus what the other children, the children of Israel did, which of course the Lord was displeased with, which and this is something I brought up before in Lessons for Life, that you can learn a lesson from watching what someone did which is successful, or learning from the mistakes of another. But as I was thinking about that, and even reading through this chapter, I said it's actually better for us to learn the lesson by watching what someone else did that's successful. And I just began to even think about that just as I was trying to get attempting to figure out what I want to speak for Lessons for Life. I got a lesson. So I was saying, you can watch what someone did that was successful, or you can learn from the mistakes someone's made. And if you think about it, if you are supposed to go in a direction, you have, let's just make it simple, north, south, east, and west. And someone goes north, and they, it doesn't work out well for them heading north. So great, you can learn from their mistake, but you still have east, west, and south to go, and it doesn't necessarily tell you which direction you should go. It just tells you that you should go north. And another example I was thinking about, let's say you were making, you wanted to make sell a pair of pants, and you see someone else who's doing it before you, and they attempt to make this pants, and it doesn't come out right for them. So okay, great, you learned that lesson that you shouldn't do it the way that they did, but it still doesn't help you with making those pants. So what I got as a lesson, I think is a great lesson that we can get, that I just got as I was reading this chapter, and it's, like I said, it's not really necessarily from this chapter, but just something that came to my mind as I was reading it. That's more valuable for us to learn a lesson by following the successes of a person, as opposed to learning a lesson by watching someone's mistake. Because by watching someone's mistake doesn't necessarily point you in the right direction. It just tells you which way you shouldn't go. But there's still so many other directions that you can head. It's better to follow the pattern or follow the successes that someone else has gone ahead and done. That way you know exactly which direction to go. So that's really what I was thinking about as I read this chapter, because I was thinking, well, which one should I do? Which should I talk about? And my bottom line is, I would speak about what Caleb did, because of course the Lord was pleased with him. And actually, as I go throughout the rest of these scriptures, and as these come up, I'm going to be, more focusing towards, let's follow the successes of the people that we see in these chapters. Of course, we can learn something from the mistakes they made, but it is much more valuable for us to learn from the successes, because then that points in the right direction to have, successful, prosperous life. So that's how I'm going to, as I'm reading the scriptures day by day, that's what I'm going to be focusing on, looking for the successes, so that we can actually be able to learn to pattern our lives after the successes. So like I said, it'll be much more value for us in the long run. So like I said, I really didn't go into the chapter too much, but I think that was an important lesson that I got for myself, and I wanted to share this morning. And that's how we'll take it as we continue to go through the rest of Lessons for Life and the rest of the Word of God. So with that, create yourself a wonderfully blessed day today, and we will talk again tomorrow.